Hey everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to install OpenClaw in your Windows machine and how to integrate with OpenAlgo. That's what we're going to learn in this specific session, right? So let's go on Kickstart. For the starters who are very new to OpenClaw, right? So you can use OpenClaw as your own personal digital assistant. You can connect OpenClaw with any of the services, right? Even you can connect with your OpenAlgo, and you can do stuff from your own chatting application like WhatsApp, Telegram, even Discord, right? So a lot of interesting possibilities are doable with OpenClaw. So we'll explore all those things. And in order to run OpenClaw, right, you need to have Node.js. So you can go and download Node.js from Node.js portal. Just go to nodejs.org. From there, you can go to the download section. From there, you can go and download for Windows, Mac or Linux, whatever the version that you want to install. You can install that downloader, and then you can go and install that corresponding installer over here, right? Once the installation is done, right, so you can go to your PowerShell. So it's highly recommended that you go to your PowerShell, right click and run as an administrator. This is very important. You have to run as an administrator, right? And once the PowerShell is there, you just simply go for a node hyphen version. Ensure that the node is installed, right? Of course, OpenClaw is open source and OpenAlgo is also open source, and OpenAlgo requires Python. So Python hyphen version. I'm not going to cover the installation process for OpenAlgo because it has been already covered in the YouTube channel many times. So we're going to cover only the OpenClaw installation process. So here, ensure that you're using the latest version. At least version 22 plus or higher is what it is recommended if in case you're going to install the OpenClaw. So now go to the OpenClaw portal, right? So if you scroll down, you'll be finding this one-liner command for PowerShell. Maybe if you're a Windows user, you can also use npm commands as well, right? npm is a node packet manager for node users to install the OpenClaw library, whereas you can go with this one-liner installation, right? I'm going to go with this one-liner installation. Just copy that. Ensure that you're doing it in PowerShell, not with the command line. I'll shift to the different path, and then I'm going to install it over here. Enter, and that will be start installing the latest version of OpenClaw, right? And this is going to take a little bit of time, and wait for some time. Once the installation is done, then it's time to connect with the OpenClaw. See, once the installation is done, right, so you will be getting this migration complete OpenClaw installed successfully. That's the latest version has been installed. So now it is time to onboard OpenClaw. So what you can do is like you just simply type OpenClaw, right? So OpenClaw onboard. Or by default, sometimes it might be directly asking you if you are installing for the very first time, right? So you can just use OpenClaw onboard, and this will be asking you whether you want to continue or not. You can just simply type yes, right? So you can use your you can use your keyboard to yes, and you can press the left arrow and press yes. And I want to say like quick start. I'll say like you can use the existing values or updated values. I'm going to use the updated values in my case, right? I'll use the updated values. I'm going to connect with my OpenAI. I'll say like I'm going to connect with OpenAI Codex. So you can connect with your own OpenAI Codex, or you can connect with Anthropic or any of the versions or any of the LLM API keys you can connect. But however, it's highly recommended you go with either OpenAI Codex or Anthropic, right? Because it is easy to set up, and moreover, your cost will be fixed, right? Otherwise, if you're going to use API key, then beware of the token consumption, which is sometimes it may end up very costlier also. In my case, I'm going to use OpenAI. I'm going to use OpenAI Codex. I'm going to use ChatGPT OAuth. This is going to connect with my ChatGPT account, right? And for that, you need to have an ChatGPT paid account. A $20 account should be fine, right? And my another machine, I had connected with the Claude Code CLI. So I'll connect with ChatGPT, right? I'll press continue. And once this is done, we are good to go, and we are connect. I'm good to go and select the model. I'm going to choose the latest model, so GPT 5.2 codex, because we want to code strategies and everything. So it's highly recommended to use the GPT 5.2 codex model. Maybe if you're looking for reasoning, go with GPT 5.2. So I'm going to go with the GPT 5.2 codex. I'll select. So now I'm going to connect with my Telegram account. So Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord. So a lot of things you can connect over here, right? So I'll go and select with my Telegram bot. I'll enter my Telegram bot key. I'm going to create one, and then I'm going to select over here. I'll say like, I'm going to enter my new bot token. So I'll go to my Telegram app. So here is my Telegram app. What I'll do, I'll try to go to bot father. Just search for bot father. Try to create an bot. One more, right? So I'll say like a new bot. Then I'm going to type enter, right? It's going to ask me to give a name to the bot. I'll say like my OpenAlgo bot. That's what the name I'm going to give. That's kind of a weird name, right? I'll say like my OpenAlgo, and then that is the username of the bot, and I should give the username for the bot as well. So first is the name, and second one is going to be the username. I'll say like OpenAlgo bot or my OpenAlgo bot, right? That's what the name I'm going to give. Oops, already the name has been already taken. Or maybe I'll say like my OpenAlgo 2016 bot. That's the name I'm gonna give, right? So it gives me a token ID, right? So copy this token, don't share with anybody else, because if you're gonna share this could give you complete access to your machine itself, right? So don't do that. Just copy that and then come back to the PowerShell, paste it over here, right click, that will paste automatically, and type enter. So it is asking you like whether you want to accept Telegram allow from the username or not. So the username, you can get the username from a particular account. I think you can go to this user info bot. You can just search for that, right? So user info bot, just search for @user info bot, and that is gonna give you the you just say start, it will give you this ID, and this is the ID, this is your ID, which means you are giving permission to your own ID here. So I'm gonna enter that ID, enter. So means only those who are having this particular ID can access your machine. Nobody else can access the bot, right? So, and I'm gonna say, did you want to configure skills now? I'm gonna say yes, and prefer node manager, I'm gonna keep it as like npm. And if you want to install a missing skill dependency, for time being, I want to install a sample dependency. Let's call that as like bird. Just give a tab, automatically marked with the plus. So that's a kind of a selection. Enter. And then it's going to ask me like, do you want Google Places API key? I'm going to say no. I'm going to give no to everything, like Google Places API key, no. Gemini API key, no. And Notion API key, for time being, no. 11 Labs API key, no. And enable hooks, for time being I'll keep it like session memory, right? I'll just give an space bar, it selects, and then type enter. So I'm going to restart the gateway service. So remember, the gateway service is the main thing to connect with your Claude bot. So the Claude bot is now running. So this gateway has to be always running behind the scenes, right? So that your OpenClaw is now ready to accept connections, right? So here, if you could see that there are two ways you can log into OpenClaw. One is like Web UI. Maybe if you're a beginner, you can consider using Web UI. Maybe if you like Linux terminal, if you are a CLI user, then you can use a terminal UI. So for time being, I'll show you with the Web UI. That opens a very cool Web UI. And you can just say hi if everything is going fine, right? So it is gonna greet you, and you can assign a name to the bot. So it says like, hi, I just came online, who am I, who are you? I'll say like my name is Rajendran, right? I'll say like I'm the creator of OpenAlgo, right? I'm going to give a name to the bot. I'm going to say like your name is HD bot, like kind of a heavy duty bot, heavy duty algo bot, right? So that's the name I'm going to give to that. So I'll just type enter. Now, once you get the response from the bot, right, now it is time to connect various things. Like you can connect various things by going back to the PowerShell, right? So let's say like install shell completion script, you just type enter. And now, if in case again you have to configure anything, right? So let's say you want to connect WhatsApp or something like that, you can just go with OpenClaw config. So this is a command you can use to add any of your other application like Discord or gateway. So just type local and then go for, you can go and change the models, like you can go and change from OpenAI codex to maybe and different API keys or even Cloud Code CLI. Or you can connect with web tools. So you can go and access, like I want to enable web search. You can go and enable web search if you want. For timing, I'm going to say no. And web fetch, I'm going to say yes. So web fetch access has been provided, right? And the next thing is like about the channels. Let's say you want to configure various channels, like just click on configure, go for WhatsApp. If you want to connect with WhatsApp, it will be sending you a QR code, right? So which you can use that to connect. Using this QR code, you can be able to connect the WhatsApp, right? So for time being, I'm not going to do anything. So that way you can go and connect any of your application, right? So for timing, I'll just close this configuration. Otherwise, you have to save the configuration. Every time you save the configuration, it will restart the gateway, right? So now the next thing is, if in case, let's say you want to, the another way to log in is like using OpenClaw, and then you can just type TUI. That will be giving you an command line interface similar to Codex or Cloud Code. You can get an terminal UI. Here also you can use it to chat. Maybe this could be useful if you are if you use Linux a lot and you like to chat with the model in a command line, right? So you can just say hi and the model will be coming up with a response, right? And you can measure what is the bot is saying and everything, right? So otherwise, if you are a guy who don't like the GUI, you can always use this port, so 127.0.0.1:187.89, so that you can always use from the GUI model, right? So for beginners, it is highly recommended to go and use this way. Maybe if you are an expert or if you are a programmer, you know what exactly you are doing, you can consider using the TUI version. I prefer to use TUI version a lot, but this is like one-time configuration. Later on, you can always take over from your Telegram, right? So let me show you with Telegram. So here is the Telegram app. We'll go to the bot further where we created the channel. So this is a bot, right? It's not the channel, but just the bot. So go to the bot and start and just simply say hi. So this should you should be getting an greetings from the bot. So the bot is automatically responding. So what does that means is now you can completely control the bot. Not only the bot, you can completely control everything in your machine, including taking a screenshot or placing an order, connecting with OpenAlgo, anything you can do from Telegram itself, right? So we'll see it in a moment. All right, so now I'm gonna run my OpenAlgo. So here is my OpenAlgo here, right? Which is, I'm already running OpenAlgo, right? And OpenAlgo is running in port 5000, as you see. So you can go to port 5000, login, and you can clearly see that the OpenAlgo is running. So now what I need to do is, I need to first tell the Cloud Code bot what exactly or where exactly my OpenAlgo is running and what are the documentation it should understand, right? So I'm going to feed certain information. So the path is, you can go to the documentation folder. So under the documentation folder, you'll be finding various details about OpenAlgo, right? You'll be finding like design, audit, Docker, like product documentation, prompt. So under the prompt, if you go there, there is then a couple of information that you should feed to OpenClaw. The more the information that you're gonna feed, better the OpenClaw is gonna get better. So first thing I'll always give is like the API documentation. This is the Python API documentation, and also the API documentation itself. So you can just right click over the API, and then from there you can go to copy path, right? So from there you just go to your Telegram or maybe your TUI, and you can say like, here is the OpenAlgo documentation, right? So get to know more about it. So once you get the response, you're gonna say like, I'm going to feed you more details about OpenAlgo. Try to understand as much as possible, right? So that's what I'm gonna give over here. So it's gonna go through my entire API documentation. In the meantime, what I'm gonna do is like, I'm also gonna give my the other documentation. Like inside the prompt folder, you'll be finding this OpenAlgo SDK.md, which contains the Python documentation. So I'm gonna copy the path as well. So I'll say like, hey, this is my OpenAlgo Python SDK, right? So Python SDK. So I'm gonna give enter. So from this, right, it should be capable of now able to understand the API documentation and also the Python SDK. So I can now go and access, let's say I can ask any question about it, like, can you tell me how to place order in Reliance, right? So obviously it's about Python code. Let's say like 10 quantity and NSE, and let's say I also want to send in market order, right? Market order, that's what I'm going to ask. Let's say I want to send it in CNC. So tell me or provide me the Python code. Provide me the Python code. Now this OpenClaw comes with unlimited context, means over a period of time it gets better and better and better, and it can guide you to not only write the code but also execute the code as well. Maybe all those things we'll be seeing in a separate session. So I hope this gives you a better idea about how to train your OpenAlgo and OpenClaw how to make your OpenClaw to understand OpenAlgo, so that you can chat from any of your devices, from your Telegram or WhatsApp or Discord, doesn't matter. But ensure that you're adding better security practices, and also you are aware that you are not sharing key with anybody else, and you're not connecting to any of the groups. If you're connecting to the groups, you are aware about doing the guardrails, right? So make sure that you're taking complete ownership of what exactly you're doing, right? So let me stop here, and I guess this could have given you a very good idea about how to integrate OpenClaw with OpenAlgo, and let OpenClaw be your personal trading assistant. See you in another video. Thank you. Bye-bye.